Today we are crafted at the Port of LA, and we are doing make and takes all weekend, and we're going to show you one of our fun little face masks that we're going to do with our guests today. Cindy's going to get us started showing us how to cut out our elements for our
one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater face mask.
She says it's so much better than me.
Anna has created these great templates that we're using, and we're simply tracing them onto some white felt.
So you need two of the horns.
Two of the horns that we're going to cut together and stuff, and then this is the teeth. And then we cut those out.
Okay.
And those are our three elements three of the elements that we need for it.
Okay. So then what we're going to do is you're going to take, we're using embroidery floss on this project today. And when I was talking to Cindy, she kind of like makes a big mess with embroidery floss. So I said, do you know this little trick? So when you take your skein of embroidery floss, there's a little tail. And if you just gently pull that tail out,
that is great.
You get your embroidery floss, and you keep doing that till the end, because if you don't, you get like this little rat's nest of embroidery
Or I always
floss.
take it off and wrap it around something, and that's the whole extra step that I don't have to do now.
But you want to be gentle, pull it gentle, not real fast, and you'll get a really nice cut every time. So just a little great tip for you.
It's a good tip.
So you're going to pin the two, these two pieces together. We're just going to take them like that.
Your two horns.
And you do want to use pins. It's really important that you do use pins. So just one in the center so they don't slip while you're sewing. This is just a simple base stitch, up and down, all the way around the edge.
Except the bottom edge.
Oh, thank you, except for the bottom edge. And then when you get to the end, if you don't know how to tie off, which we found a lot of people didn't know yesterday, you're just gonna come up through at the end, kind of wrapping it around. You'll see a little loop. Give it a little tug, and you have a knot, and that's it.
Yeah, nice clean knot, it's not bulky.
Scissors. Thank you, nurse.
You're welcome, doctor.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to stuff this, and then we're going to set it aside. So just using a little bit of batting, just simply stick it in there like so. There we go. And then we're going to set this aside. Now Cindy's going to show us we have one more element that we need to cut out. We have the teeth, we have the horn.
But we need the one eye for the one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. And we're going to use the Spellbinder's Grand Caliber to cut this. This machine is really easy to use. And it'll cut through fabric, paper, metal cans, thin like soda cans and things like that. And many of their dies have great intricate details. Today we're using their circle set. And the trick is all in making the sandwiches, which there are instructions on their site, and it comes with the machine.
Yeah, it's really great because even say on the plate.
It's even labeled, so it tells you what level to go in, because it comes with all the plates that you need to do the different things that it'll do. So you place your die on the bottom, and then your fabric on top. And then it's a good idea when you're cutting fabric to use a piece of scrap paper or scrap cardstock. It just gives it a little extra crisp edge to go through.
That's a really good tip, Cindy.
It makes it a little easier to cut. And then you put your cutting plate, because we're cutting, on top.
And it says cutting plate.
It says cutting plate, so.
How much easier could it be?
Yeah, it's great. Now, we've got a tablecloth down, so it's not working, but the machine also does have feet that stick down so it's not moving, which makes it easier. And then it just rolls through. It's easy to turn.
A little workout too at the same time.
But it's easy. It's really not much of a workout.
No,
The
it's
nice
not.
thing
It's
about
like-
it is
It's like when you're on a bicycle and you put it in that gear where you just
Yeah,
go.
and you just sound effects. So after you take it out of the machine, we're going to see the surprise inside. I did want to mention, you'll see some images on the top of here.
We've been cutting other things too.
This is the cutting plate, and it will leave images of other things that you've cut. It does not affect the results at all.
So stay tuned for the
Yeah.
the images that you see.
You'll see something with those later. And then you remove,
Voila!
and you've got your perfectly cut image.
Great.
And it just makes it easier when you're doing multiples. For a make and take like this, doing it this way makes it much easier.
So now we have all our elements cut out. We're going to set the elements aside, and now I'm going to show you actually how to make the face mask part. Now, with Cindy and I, when we were putting our heads together, creating these kinds of activities for people to do, we really brainstorm a lot. And so we decided on this one because we didn't want people have to cut up a lot of things, that we were just using plain white washcloths, and we dyed them purple.
With our Rit liquid
with
dye.
our Rit liquid dye. And it's really kind of funny because we said make and take. I'd dye 60 of these one morning in my kitchen, but it was great. And Cindy doesn't use it, but I like using a little bit of salt with the dye.
Depends on what I'm dyeing, whether
And
I
it's
use it.
only half an hour in the boiling water.
And you get a good vibrant color.
Yeah, and then you rinse it out, and look how great. You'd never know this was a white.
No, looks like it
So-
came that way.
So you're gonna take your washcloth, and these are just inexpensive white washcloths. You're gonna spread that out like this. You're gonna fold it in thirds, like this one, and then bring this one over, okay? Then we're gonna fold this in half to find our center.
And then you pinned it right
And we're
in.
gonna use a pin.
And that marks your center point.
Right, and it marks your center point. Like I said a little bit earlier, we are gonna use a lot of pins. It's important to not skip this step.
It really makes it easier to follow where you're supposed to be.
So I'm going to do some stitching, and it's going to be, so kind of just think of this as an invisible line right here. Okay, so I've got my thread already threaded, and I'm going to go through all 3 layers. I'm catching them. And then I'm just doing, here again, the running base stitch a little bit further apart than I did on the horn.
To give us a wider gather.
Right, because we're going to gather. And because this is so many layers, I'm literally going to go up and down through all the layers instead of, sometimes you can scrunch it, but we're going to go this way. So once you get to your end, and you can see this just is super quick, you're going to get to your end, and then what you're going to do, go ahead and remove the pin, and you're going to pull this, and it's going to gather just
Brings
like
it together where the nose will be.
and then we're going to knot it off, which we already have
already
one
have
done for you. Oh, here we go. Already, so just knot it off. So now this gives you, see, we're starting to get the
get
shape.
that.
Now, you can see it comes a big bow tie actually, but we want to round the corners. So how we're going to round the corners, here again, back with the pins, we're going to just gently fold in the corner, just no really rule other than that. I'm going to take, since this has the extra edge.
Reminds me of gift wrapping.
Yeah,
It's kind of that feel of tuck and fold.
And then we're going to put a pin here, and then I'm going to go to this corner, and now you can see it's literally starting to make it round.
itself.
And then we're going to put a piece of elastic in this side. Okay, now we have our corners folded in. We're going to take a piece of elastic, and I actually did dye the elastic.
We discovered you can dye elastic.
Doesn't come out as vibrant because it is polyester base, but it did give it a nice little lavender tint.
Nice lavender
So
tint.
it looks not so white up against the purple.
It's not as stark, yeah.
So you're going to do this, and now what we're going to do is whip stitch around the edge. So we have this here, and let me show you. I'd like to keep them on my shirt so I always know where they're at.
You don't stand up and lose them that way. That's what
This
I'm
is
always
true.
doing, is
So
stepping on
literally
them.
a whip stitch is where you go through and you're just going round.
Actually
So
around the outside
So it's
edge.
kind of almost like a coil. You're going like this as you stitch. And that's how I was teaching people last night, and it seemed to understand that. So I hope you understand that at home.
Like a spring.
So you get the idea. We're going to go all the way around, a little extra stitching when you get to the elastic, and now I'm going to show you what to do on the other end. This side's all done. Now we're flipping it over, repeating the same thing, putting the elastic. You do want to measure around your head to make sure it's nice and tight. And just a little tip that I was telling Cindy, when you are pinning, make sure you put the pins on the outside edge, so as you're sewing, it's just easy to pull it out. Because if you pin this way,
You fumble.
you fumble and you poke yourself. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and finish that up. And now you've got your little mask all done. And now we're going to go ahead and put the
And the fun
elements.
stuff.
The fun stuff. So now we're going to go to our little horn. And we're just here again. I know I'm making you guys crazy about the pinning.
It
but
really does help. I never used to be a big pinner, and I have learned that it's easier if you use the pins.
Yeah, listen to me. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So we're going to pin that, and then you're going to stitch across there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get the rest of our elements on. We just use some fabric tack, put it along the bottom of the teeth, glue that there, and then you want to show the eyes?
Yep. And same thing, we use some of the
Just a
fabric
little
tack
fabric
adhesive
tack on the
in the
back.
center. And then the fabric tack will also hold the eye to the center.
And that's it.
And then you're done.
I'm going
You
to
have this
bring
totally
back in our
fun-
little fun mask.
Totally
and there
fun,
you've
totally
got a
silly.
great. And I'm going to take this off and make Cindy model it for you.
But it's still lightweight. It's not heavy on your face. It is washable because the fabric tack is washable and the
It's a
red dye is
washcloth.
washable. And it's a washcloth, so.
And it works. Keeps it nice and dark at night. Hey, what do we say when creativity knocks?
Open the door.